So I'm gonna try to get a little bit further. And I don't know, YouTube, you can't play music. Play some like Viking music. I'm so fucking bored. I gotta get something done. Well, not really Viking music like rock and roll. Just like whatever. I hate JavaScript. Nothing's playing. That's cool. Whatever. Nothing ever works. So complicated. Oh my god. If I like, there's so many wrong wrong ways to do this. I need some water. Like, every single wrong way isn't gonna work at all. I need to be able to save the number of which match it is. So like if, do, while, or switch. So like 0, 1, 2, 3. Or like 0, 1, 2. This is not readable. I'm gonna have to make a function and then pass in arguments. Like setting keys and values, this is like so annoying. So like if this is 0, when it enters as a match, it has to enter it. So I have to save which one it is. So if it's like the if statement, if there's a expression inside of it, and then it needs to like pick this again. So if it is an expression, then it stacks. So I can pack that in here. And I realized this can actually go inside the push pop case. It doesn't have to be outside. If I put it inside, I less states to set. So when it stacks, if there's like another expression, it's only a match as an expression if it has one of these keywords. If, while, whatever. But that's only like for this expression. I also need a list that says like ignore. So if it's if, it's already in an if block, I think I want to ignore it by the enum of the expression it is. So I need these enums beforehand. I can't define them in the thing. So if it like falls through and doesn't hit any of these, then it doesn't match this. which means the length will be 0. If I pass length, or a status, it'll be not a length status. Oh, it might be a length. If it's a length, damn. This one I need to enter twice, the scope or whatever. So I need to pass a length somewhere to say enter again, or at least once, so I can say enter again, repeat, whatever, to like trigger repeat. Because I need to like get the scope and evaluate within it here, well, all the stuff in between, but then check this scope after it. Like, I could copy this, but it won't even work. I can use the names, but like the logic isn't, it's not gonna work the same. This like just parses only the keywords. I'm trying to like preserve the stack and stuff. This is so unreadable. Alright, so like in C language you can't have an if inside an if normally. Or like a while. So I'm pretty sure that's like a scope rule or like a block rule. I don't want to set a bunch of status fields. I might have to. If I save these beforehand, Alright, so like, if I save beforehand, enums, and then when it enters the first time, I have to like set a predefined document, language, syntax, type, rules, whatever. When it's already entered, it's like that language, whatever. So assuming it's like C language, and it hasn't taken any of these yet, I guess reserve 1 for 0 for like nothing then. Or a global scope. It's like outside all the things. Do that. Like I have it almost figured out, and then there's like tiny little things that like mean it's not totally figured out. I need to break it down. I don't want to predefine every damn case. Oh my god. So if you make a global case, just be empty. Or would this be like the reset case? Oh, would this be like the white space, black space? If I change it, if I make 0 invalid, meaning like it only counts from 1 and up, I can make 1 white space and 2 black space, meaning like empty characters or numbers or a label or whatever, something that's not white space or empty space. So I could set 0 as global. Because like the white space, empty space cases, they're not even related, but they have to use the same table. If that makes any sense. They don't have to, but I think they might have to. So the issue at the end, or just the black space. The white space characters are no. Black space characters. If I always add a 1, then it's impossible to accidentally get a global scope. Like literally impossible. So then the only match that is ever global is global scope. Do that. And then a 1 is white space. All I want is, I don't even care about the freaking keywords. Like, if else, switch. So I need to adjust it, because those don't even matter. Those already have scope by the character itself, the, whatever character. If I do number matching beforehand, that's not what I want. I want to like fall through, filter through everything that's not it, and then plop whatever's like left over is like it didn't match anything else, and it's like has to match something, so it must fall through to like the blob case, and then I want to evaluate it from start to whatever length is. So the black space or like the non-white space. This is more work. In the end. I need to set up how I was going to set it up. Oh, that's even more work. I gotta find a balance between the two. If I do it this way, it's stupid. I need to do it the other way. This way is not gonna work really good. I can use the concept, but flattening it is not gonna work. like the concept of having keys and then it gets like flat, meaning it like eventually gets like an end token, and I can like break the stack from the evaluation because I can enter and I can break, I can save the value. So if it contains itself, which it doesn't, because it named it different. So if it contains itself, so you expand argv or arrayv var value, then it's safe to contain itself. It just means it like returns back the number that it matched in, and then I can save that to stack. So on the stack I'll save like, if it's like an if and then maybe like a while or like a switch, then every time it enters and leaves I can just save the fucking number. So it's not like recursively stacking or whatever, but it can contain, and that's fine. It's not gonna like stack overflow. Because JavaScript, it's not designed by the brightest people, so it doesn't have tail call recursion. Only like a couple languages have that. If JavaScript was designed by smarter people or people with brains, not stupid people, then it would have tail call recursion, but it doesn't, because it's designed by the I don't even know. They just don't know what they're doing, I guess. I mean, it's a very fancy, simple way to like show off that you know how to like have language. Like every language that like has tail call recursion is like, damn, that's a language. That's probably exactly why JavaScript doesn't have it. Yeah. So if I push these to stack and I save the numbers separate, so like this is a 0, 1, 2, 3. Then when I re-enter, if I was on this one, the next one is this one. Which means I like match a character, and if it's not this, then it's not that. Which means it's an expression, and it didn't hit this point yet. So that's annoying. So the way I was gonna set it up, I want to try this. I don't think it's gonna work exactly. I don't want to do it my way. My way is like, I don't like it. It was clever, and now it's not. I hate this. I gotta turn it inside out. I was setting it up to like ray trace or whatever. Not really ray trace, but like character trace, but not really. I was gonna have it here. before the loop. That follows here. Man, that font is terrible. What is it, like the world's worst geometric shape? Wait, what happened to the fonts? I don't care. Alright, so I was gonna have it. I'm gonna have to do this anyways. It makes more sense with like sound effects. So I'm just gonna make sound effects. Whatever position it's at in the string. Doesn't have to go like pew, pew, pew. And like get the index and then whatever's closest. So like shoot all the rays to raycast for the chart code. Whatever's closest is the scope of interest. So everything before the exact character of the scope that's closest, everything before that to the position, every character in between, every character, however many there are, however many characters in between, this is the absolute endpoint for the opening of the scope. Like 1000% absolutely guaranteed the endpoint for the opening of new scope. Because all of them are checked and that's the closest. So I like removed a ton of like complication like that. Because that means in here I do that. And then here, I like evaluate it. So whatever the length is, the exact length between these 2 points, a perfectly known, exact, precise, absolute. Everything in between there, I toggle between checking for white space or empty space. And I go back and forth until I hit length. Until I hit the length between. The absolute length. Which means when I hit the length, right here, whatever, the next character is the scope character. Ta-da! Wow, isn't that clever? Yeah, it's just so clever. Yeah. I thought it was. Yeah. So this loop can handle all that shit. It's all absolutely known. So after it finishes that, when this loop reaches 0, it means that everything in between is done. So it's gonna fall through. And then in here, do the push pop loop, whatever. So all it has to do in here which is like the push case, for example, is evaluate whatever was before it. That's all it has to do. And then it pushes or throws an error. If it pushes, then it begins a post. And then the post is the same thing as like right before this. It re-enters at the top, and it does a recast. It goes, finds the closest match. For the closing this time. Can I not rotate text? Alright, whatever. Yeah, okay, so. A raycast or a charcast or whatever. And then this is the closest. It's more complicated than that. Alright, so first this so if that's the closest and it's the same kind of scope type or whatever character, if it's like a complementary of the opening scope, it means that's the closing scope. So everything from the current position to there is an absolute. Ta-da! So the absolute again. So simple. And then it's just freaking like handle this loop here to the exact length and then push pop here. Now it's a pop case. So whatever rules needed for the pop case, whatever, do that shit. And then it restarts and there's a pre-push pop, whatever. Again, again, again. If it does a raycasting or whatever, and if it finds a character, another opening character, then it has to stack. And when it stacks, then it re-enters. And that's where it works with this case. If I set it up in this like, this kind of manner, whatever. Yeah. Alright, so basically, if I do it this way, which I was going to do, this guy already like figured it out. Except he's not doing scope. I need to do the scope, so it's not figured out anymore. So I gotta figure out something that'll fit the way I'm doing it. Because I'm trying to be fancy. Because it's going to be worth it to remove the scope resolution from the parsing phase. It'll make it a shitload easier. And then it's easier to like distribute tasks like whatever. Alright, so basically, if I'm going to do it my way, which I have to do because it's not going to work this way with what I have. Unless I like just dump what I have, except this is like squeaky clean. This is like perfect fucking like absolutes. So I'm gonna go with what I got. You can't get better than fucking absolutes. Absolutely. Yes. Alright, so that means that I kind of need to test. I need to like structure it so the stupid scope is beforehand. Except that I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to do that. So this is gonna be like an inside out list. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. So I guess I'll find out. Yeah. I need more caffeine. This is annoying. Yeah, I did this myself. I can't even complain. It is very clever. I just have to like top it off with a cherry. And then it's like, then it's done. Man, the yellow looks kind of gross. Like, I don't know. Subscribe, don't subscribe, I don't know, whatever. Like, if you're using package managers, my god, stop using a package manager. Like seriously. It's stupid.
The internet's been kind of weird for the last couple of days, couple of weeks, with the combination of worms that are going on and like major exploits kind of falling out of the sky. I want to talk about like what the hell is even going on and what we can do as both practitioners and users of the internet to maybe be more secure. Now, I am going to try and one-shot this video. I had a separate video that was going to go.
What you can do is like watch the system eat itself alive, and that's what's gonna happen. Which is like a positive for me, because I got like an OS release at some point. So I don't know, whatever.
Today, but I wanted to make this video because it feels like there's just so much going on that I want to kind of address, and maybe hopefully help you make better.
It's gonna keep getting worse, 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 worse. Which is positive for me. So I don't know, whatever.
Online, okay? The primary thing I want to address.
It's not even doom and gloom, it's like fact. It's like it is what it is. It's worse, worse, worse. Just saying.
Is the shy halud problem, right? The package manager problem. You know, as Ginger Bill would say, package managers are evil, right? So shy halud, if you're not aware, is not just one, but a series of worms that have been compromising package managers like npm and pypy. And I don't know if this worm has gotten into it, but I've seen instances where there have been compromises in cargo as well, the Rust package repo. And so what's really concerning about shy halud is the fact that it is a worm, right? A worm, by definition, is something that is self-propagating, meaning that it can use the access that it gets to further its access. By compromising a maintainer of a package, you're able to then, compromise other packages and then use that to get more and more access. Now, the reason why I'm addressing this is because TanStack was compromised. They fixed it since the day of the compromise, but TanStack got popped, okay? If you're not aware, TanStack is a very high-profile React package that people use to make their front-end applications more efficient. And through the use of a pull request target workflow, basically a workflow in GitHub Actions that uses the permissions of the maintainer and not the permissions of the contributor, they were able to poison the cache in GitHub Actions and use that to extract the publish token for TanStack, and then use that token to publish a signed package that was ultimately malicious, right? And so the reason I'm addressing this is that, we're seeing kind of the downstream effects of compromises like TanStack. And again, this is not like me blaming Tanner or anybody or like blaming people for these compromises. This is literally a vulnerability in kind of not only the architecture of.
It's literally Windows Linux himself. There is no solution. The only solution would be to like restart. Like every single program would have to be like recompiled. And even then, you know what, whatever.
GitHub Actions, like pull request targets, in my opinion, are just bad, flat out, period. Huge foot gun that are very easy to make mistakes with. But also, it's the vulnerability in.
Because like if you ran any kind of code, like if there was like a restart and like everything was like recompiled, it's like clean slate, you would not be able to run anything from before that point. Anything at all. That's never gonna happen. That's not even possible. So it's gonna get worse, worse, worse. And then even if that did happen, there's no way to be secure with how these things are designed. So I don't know, whatever.
Of the culture we've created, where building an application, not just
And like it doesn't matter until it affects you. Then it's like, oh shit, now this matters. So I don't know, whatever.
NPM, by the way, not just for JavaScript, but for literally any language nowadays, is
Why JavaScript? Because JavaScript is shit. Oh my god, JavaScript.
npm install, pip install, cargo install a thing, and that will be like 90% of the code that your application runs, and then you like kind of glue two packages together and call it an application, right? We've entered very dangerous territory when it comes to who and how often we trust things, and I'm not sure if we can go back, right? I'm not sure if we can just unwind the package culture. And so I want to kind of present some ideas about how we can secure this. And also I want to address in this video the bugs falling out of the sky thing too. Both of these, by the way, the Shai-Hulud worm and bugs kind of falling out of the sky, this is a QEMU escape, by the way, QEMU, however you pronounce it. Someone dropped a QEMU escape, which basically means from the virtualization environment from within the hypervisor of QEMU and KVM, they're able to run an exploit that runs code as root on the host, right, which is terrifying. I think all of these are occurring. They're getting bigger in their volume, how often we're seeing them, because of two things. AI. Again, I think we all love to shit on AI, and I personally love to shit on AI, but especially as a vulnerability researcher and like a practitioner in this space, AI is becoming harder and harder to ignore because it enables people who are not well read in the space to be well read faster, or people that are already good actors, like good researchers in the space, can now act as 100 actors. I know there's a lot of talk about like, oh, if you think AI is good at a thing, you probably just suck at that thing. Sure, but also AI can do things 100 times faster than I can, so I can now just act as myself 100 times faster, right? I think that is creating the scenario that we're seeing here, where these compromises are happening faster and these bugs are falling out of the sky. Now, that being said, what do we do about Shai-Hulud? Right? What is to be done about the world of NPM? Again, I don't think there's any going back from the world of NPM install everything. So what do we do about it? These are not sponsors, by the way. This is not a sponsored video. This is me just talking about my opinions on things, okay? There are a variety of companies on the internet that literally all their job is to provide another CDN, another content delivery network, where they act as like a middleman between you and NPM, and what their service provides.
That'll fix it. For sure, that's gonna fix it. Like an ogre has layers. More layers. This is not even Shrek. I gotta fix it. It's kind of, but not really. I gotta pull the ears down, and yeah.
Hey, they scan repos for weird behavior, okay? That is a way. Again, if your company can afford it, if you can afford it, I highly recommend. Again, I don't use Socket. This is just one that I found.
If you pay for it, it might actually work. Okay, never mind. If it's free though, there's no way. If it's paid for, it might work.
This is an option for you as well. Also, any.run, again, not a sponsor, just an idea for the video. They are literally a sandboxing solution, right? What they do is you upload files to them and they run them and give you IOCs, right? Indicators of compromise. And they have actually an API that you can use to run their stuff in code, which may be a good thing for your company, right? Maybe you just, I can't find the fucking page, it's fine. Maybe you use them and you use them to scan the output of an NPM install, right? This obviously creates like an arms race where now if the maintainer of the malware is aware that you and your company wait, 7 days before installing, they're just gonna make their malware wait 7 days, but hopefully like signature-based detection schemes will catch this, right? Another thing to do that doesn't really involve using another company, but just is very like easy, tool or change to your configuration to possibly use, is don't use packages that are less than, here the author of this post says 2 days. My recommendation, I retweeted this, my recommendation is a week, right? You can literally set your package managers to include PMPM, NPM, and I think UV, the Python package manager. you can tell it, hey, do not install packages that are younger than some amount of time, because we're just seeing people get hacked more and more by this, right? This is a good way, in my opinion, to stay, again, behind the curve in a way that gives you the updates that you need, but not ones that came out yesterday. Obviously, if a package that you use is like an internet-facing web app like Django, for example, in the Python case, and the update that is being pushed fixes like an RCE vulnerability, maybe we don't wait 7 days for that. But if like it fixes a 1.1x performance issue in the way that it handles post requests, maybe you wait 7 days before you install that to prevent yourself getting compromised, okay? So this is, again one of the many solutions or attempts at a solution at, when in trying to solve the NPM problem or the general package manager problem. Also, by the way, pull request target. Please stop using pull request target. I think generally, these are a huge foot gun. And again, I'm not shitting on anybody at TanStack. This is just the way that they got compromised. I think a lot of these big compromises are occurring because the pull request target workflow is so easy to screw up, where if you in any way somehow give code control to the PR, right? You do any kind of checks on the PR that could call a hook or that could call any of the PR code, you're going to give the contributor of that PR the ability to run code in the context of your access and give them potentially your GitHub token, right? Which is no bueno. So you really have to avoid these. Overall, guys, I think what we're seeing is AI is starting to have.
Or you could like take a risk and live a little, or well, like live less, cause like be really stressed if you take a risk and like it was actually a risk. Never mind. I gotta get something done.
Impact on the industry in a way that feels, well, I mean, is, right, fairly negative at the beginning. I think, and I've said this in other videos, we're gonna enter a very...
Chatbot, it does it to him too. Chatbot will say something like, oh, I know you feel that way. And he's like, something that feels, oh, I mean is. Man, Chatbot sucks. Chatbot is so annoying. GPT is terrible. The OpenAI model sucks.
Weird, like 5 to 7 year period where like shit just gets really...
Because you use the AI and you like overthink everything you say. Because it's like, the AI is so bad.
For a while, but while attackers are able to use it early, right? Attackers can just go and they only have to be right one time to get their access and do their evil stuff. I think AI will actually allow us in both the software development lifecycle and in the lifecycle of like defenders like the SOC, will allow us to scale up the defense of software and hopefully make...
What's the SOC?
Well, a safer place, right? Again, I'm not trying to like play Doomer or...
Does it mean socket? Or is it like a communal SOC that everyone uses? It's kind of gross.
Of software, and hopefully make vendors like the SOC will allow software development lifecycle and in the lifecycle of like defenders like the SOC will allow...
So it's a brand. The SOC. That sounds kind of gross.
Us to scale up the defense of software and hopefully make the world a safer place, right? Again, I
like if I Google the SOC, I don't want to know what I'm going to find. Oh, it's not that bad.
trying to like play Doomer or play Gooner.
Socks and Gooners. Alright, I'm not gonna look that up. That's definitely not the same sock.
for AI. But I think just if you're curious, title of the video, what the hell is even happening? I think AI is starting to really kind of kick into overdrive. I use this example a lot. This is obviously just one benchmark of many benchmarks, depending on how good or bad you think benchmarks are. But you know, if you look at this graph, right, graph go up. CyberGym is basically a repo of code with known vulnerabilities. And this graph is which models and when told to find vulnerabilities in that software, what is their success rate? How much of the software's vulns do they find? And we're seeing here with supposedly Mythos, but with public acknowledgement of 5.4 and 5.5, they're getting really good at finding bugs. And with the Mythos thing, right, they're getting good at not only finding the bugs, but writing entire exploit chains for those bugs, right? I'm actually not aware of Microsoft's M-dash. I want to check this out. Or it's not, the agent is M-dash, but it's a multi-model 5.4 Opus 6. Anyway, not important. That's it, guys. Yeah, this video is supposed to be kind of like a here's what you can do. I also wanted to just kind of riff on what's going on in the industry because, yeah, man, there's a lot going on. And just keep your wits about you, right? Just stay aware. Go on Twitter, watch my channel because that's kind of the whole point. I make videos about what's going on. And yeah.
If only there was a better JavaScript. That wasn't like this JavaScript, V8. If only. I could get something done. If I turn this stuff inside out, so like character cast or whatever, raycast, it only makes sense with sound effects. So if I'm at here in the file, and I like raycast or character casting, like pew, 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 to find the next closest character. Let's say it's like this one. That's an absolute. So everything from the current character to that character is an absolute. So I can loop from the current character to that character. And that's every single character that's before the scope of whatever the closest scope is, because these are all like scope characters. So that means like I gotta set up my list inside out, or I should. There's like a recursive descent parser technique. And I can almost use this technique, but I can't. Because I need stacking. Because I'm going like scope first. This just parses the characters themselves. It doesn't like separate scope. So I want to do like both in one. Yeah. If I organize it by the character first, I don't have to loop. If I do it by character and I do it by scope, I can make this be the current scope. So if there's a stack of the current like depth, whatever, of scopes that have been like entered, call like stack. Let's do that. Not make a super length. Just freaking normal array. If I do that, and let's say like I enter and it's like, it's inside the, well, there's a global stack outside of it, but then it's like inside an if stack. This is actually a statement though, but whatever. Push and then push. Is there a peak function for the, I'll just assume there is. If there's not, whatever. So if I did this and I did peak to get the top thing on the stack, assuming that there is one. I don't use push pop, whatever, with arrays in JavaScript. And then I could enter this array, pass in the current character or scope that was like fetched during this pass. So current scope char. And I do this. Then that gets me the scope currently. And then selecting the previous scope. So like an if statement, it can't have any of these inside of it. Oh, this is so complicated. Do I want to make an individual list of every single thing that is or is not valid? No. But would it be the most flexible? If I do this, then I match. I still need. Alright, I don't even know. I need to like. This inside out list is not working. There's gonna be so many cases if I gotta do it the other way. I'm gonna shut up and think. So I end up with like a couple different things going on at the same time. It's not a simple stack. Yeah. I want to like delay. I want to like shift the whole thing or whatever. Like a delay slot. If I override the current character, then I can change it. Like if I do the char closest match, whatever, I'll find this. Does everything still run? Just delete it really quick. Everything works. Alright, so I'm gonna give up for now. I cannot take this anymore. This is so annoying. I'm gonna work on where even is out here. I'm gonna work on the time scheduler for a couple days. And then let this stuff marinate, whatever. I have the control flow figured out, except the data structure. There's too many ways. I gotta figure out how to like break it down. The only thing I broke down is routine. Like this part, whatever. Rick gets like the exact absolute offset of whatever. To get that chunk, and then the loop before it, loop after it. I thought of everything except for this part. If I change this stuff up, well, then I got two problems. So I have like 80% of it solved. It's just a data structure. And I'm limited in JavaScript. I can't just do objects and objects and objects. I know what's going to happen if I do that. It's going to take up a shitload of memory and like not run. So I'm like, fuck, damn it. I need a simple, flat layer. I'm doing too much of this part. I'm gonna have to change something. Yeah. So I'm gonna work on this offline. Time scheduler for a couple days. Because anything I show on stream is fair use, or would be considered fair use because I'm showing it, so duh. I gotta like think on this, whatever. So, I don't know, yeah. Yup. I feel like nothing is gonna be what I need. If I start throwing stuff together, it's gonna turn into like a big blob of all these properties. And it's not gonna solve the problem. And I do not want to invest the time in this right now. I'm tired of this. So I'm gonna work on something else tomorrow. And then a couple days and then get back to this. With like a clear mindset. Until I get fed up with it. Yeah. I think I'm gonna try a little bit longer, but I'm gonna like in the stream. And then I don't know, whatever. Peace.